What is up, guys? We are going on another adventure. We picked up some over-the-counter tags for Nebraska, so we're heading to the Panhandle looking for some mule deer. Our tag is good for either whitetail or mule deer, but it'd take a pretty big whitetail, I think, for any of us to rip the trigger. So, got all our stuff packed up. We're just picking up Mickle, who's running a little slow as normal.
I am not. It's you guys. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Hopefully it's warmer in Nebraska.
Should be pulling in Nebraska. About time for supper.
You guys stink! Oh my God.
That's funny shit.
I'll shove air pressure up your ass when we get to the next gas station.
You gotta love riding in a vehicle with four guys. Yeah, the limits get pushed a little bit too far sometimes. We're just kind of cruising through South Dakota now. I don't know, I didn't see much North Dakota. It's pretty quick. It is dark.
You haven't seen any of South Dakota either.
I've been trying to take a nap, but nobody will let me. What's going on back there, Evan? Evan, what are you doing?
Just resting up for the...
Resting up for that burger and a beer?
Yeah.
We're about an hour away from our VRBO in the town that we're staying in. Everybody's itching for a cold beer and a burger. And we contacted the local game warden to ask on a couple of rules we wanted to verify. So I asked how the mule deer population was, and he goes, the mule deer bucks are pretty much non-existent. I've never seen heads drop so fast in the truck, and everybody was just like, what? Yep. Dad won't even talk, that's how upset he is.
We'll find them though.
But he said they are out there. There's still some bucks, but he said a lot of them get taken during the rifle season. I seen a monster mule deer in one herd, quite a ways away from where we're hunting. We seen a 2x2 on the side of the highway with some does. The CO said last night he seen one spike with 19 does. So he said that's kind of, you're going to see some small bucks with the does, but they're out there. And he said the whitetail bucks out there are, there's a lot of them around. They said their average whitetail buck harvested out there is like 3.5 years old. So if we have to take a whitetail buck that's 3.5 years old, well, that's what we'll do. That's what hunting is. We'll get out there and roam the hills of the Pine Ridge unit and see what happens. We're out here for the adventure anyways, so. Temperatures really jumped up over the last 10 hours. Sitting at about 28 degrees. This week's supposed to even get warmer. Up to possible 40s. 13 miles away and the terrain's starting to look a little better. We're seeing a little bit more pine trees and hills and ridges. This is where the big old muleys are going to be.
Yeah. I still think we got a good chance against some bucks. Not worried about it. We got this.
Just pulled up to our home for the next week. Pack it up, guys.
You're probably going to want to get yours on the dryer.
No, Mickle, grab your bag, bring it back home.
Yeah.
This is too fancy, Dad.
Too nice?
Yeah. We're not used to this.
I like fancy.
We're not used to this
in Florida.
Well, we found the first spot that we're going to hit up on the Onyx. About 4 miles deep, and there's a couple of ravines. We just seen some deer come across from the hayfields, so we're going to give it a whirl. We seen a bunch of mule deer does and some whitetail does and fawns. I haven't seen any horns yet, but we're going to give it a whirl. You got to start somewhere. Get back in there. There's a bunch of openings and some pine tree groves, and
Yeah.
we'll start with that. See if we seen a big lone deer cruise across. It looked like a whitetail, but the only way you can get out there and find something is just to get out there and do it. So wind's a little bit more than we thought it was going to be today, but there's some other hunters. What are you thinking so far, Dad?
Beautiful country.
Beautiful country, but from what we talked to the DNR, a little bit different than what we were expecting, but that's hunting. Go with the flow. We're here for the adventure, so we'll figure it out and have some fun while we're at it.
Me and Evan are going to tag out about 200 feet in, so.
Yeah, you never know.
It ain't real tall, but you go down there, it's pretty steep. So me and Evan were walking around, and we had a good mule deer buck following this coulee channel, and we came to this little coulee to cut across, and it is steep. We actually got stuck in the bottom for a little bit, so we're gonna stay after it. Stay tuned for another episode of Slightly Farther Up North Outdoor Madness. And Cody, you can hear this. Yeah, we should definitely shoot a spike, just so we can call Cody and Chad to come down here.
Way up there is where we started.
And Dad's still surviving.
Still standing.
Haven't had to pack him out yet.
You guys ever go for just a walk, just to stretch your legs during the deer season? Just kind of limber up. We're doing one of those walks this morning that we didn't want to do.
Dad decided to slip off the road.
Oh, we were looking onto some public property, and we pulled kind of a little too far to the edge just to look down in the ravines to see if there was any deer tracks, and all of a sudden Dad wasn't pushing the gas, but the truck was still moving in the wrong direction. So we're doing a little bit of a walk of shame looking for a farm right now, seeing if somebody wants to give us a little bit of a pull up to the road. We did meet the CO that we talked to on the phone yesterday. It was a super nice guy, but unfortunately state vehicles aren't allowed to give a tug. So guess we'll move on to the next person. Come on, get up there. There you go.
Well, you know, they were giving me a bad time about my tires before we went.
We gave you a bad time when they were brand new. We just like to give each other a bad time.
Well, you know, I always trips my trigger to pull a Chevy in.
What was that?
He always trips his trigger to pull a Chevy out.
Yeah, well, I was kind of hoping that it was, you know, that it was one of the Chevys that was going to come pull me out, but I'm not going to complain a bit. Well, I think
Yeah, I'm glad we ran into the right people.
Well, can I give you something for pulling me out?
No. We didn't come out here to make money. We just come to help you, so you like to come back to Nebraska.
Yeah.
Well, so far
All right,
we like
guys.
it.
See those? I don't know. See those trees right off that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not way over the horizon, but just right here.
Okay.
There's a windmill and a stack yard and a place to turn in there. And over here on those trees are on the north side of an alfalfa field. And I have noticed that there's quite a few mule deer out there. See if you can get there.
You gotta get a handshake from you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you very much. You guys take care.
Super big thank you to a couple of nice Nebraskans. And they said most of the Nebraskans are nice around here. So it must be just like at home in Minnesota. We got a lot of nice people, and usually we're on the other end of the tow rope giving the tug out, but today we were on the wrong side of the tow rope getting pulled out. And as the guy said, he couldn't turn down the offer to come pull out a Chevy with his Ford.
It was tough.
But we got he gave us permission to go hunt some of his alfalfa fields, so we're gonna give that give it a check out anyways, and he said there's some mule deer around there, so we'll check it out and see where this leads. Thanks again to those two guys. Oh yeah, there I can see them. Whole bunch of whitetails on this land that we just got permission on. There's horns. That's a decent one, Dad. I'd shoot that. That's a 3x3. Or a 2x. Well, we just got permission for that property. You know, he said there was some mule deer out there, and all of a sudden we seen like, it seemed like 40, 50 whitetail. Well, then we went and cruised around, and right in his tree grove by his house is a bunch of mule deer does. And I'm like, you wait a second. All of a sudden more kept coming. I'm like, you wait, that buck's gonna come running right out. And all of a sudden, no more, a couple seconds after I said that, it must have been, I don't know, 3x3. Wasn't a monster, but I think I would have pulled the trigger on it if we knew for sure that we could shoot right there. Maybe we'll run into him again or get a hold of him just to be clear on what he's okay with. So, we'll keep looking for that next mule deer, but pretty sure I would have pulled the trigger on that one. So guys, how was your morning walk?
Oh, we already did an intro.
Yeah.
It was great. It was very pretty.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of land
Yeah, it was nice.
and grass and trees.
One spike whitetail, one nice muley. That's about it. Bunch of does and fawns. That was way off, huh?
Yeah, you were way in front of them. Still haven't seen them.
No.
Yeah,
he's the one
they're
wide open.
right now, yeah.
No shot.
Well, we came out to Nebraska for mule deer, and the CO said that mule deer are pretty much non-existent. Came to Nebraska and whacked a whitetail. We've been hitting all this public land looking for, you know, action. It is only day 2, but from all the other hunters, we've ran into hunters from Minnesota and other places, and they're not seeing any deer action at all. We got access to this private property, and I was moving through here, and all of a sudden I came up on a bunch of bedded deer inside of a pine grove, and I seen it's no monster, but you know, it's muzzleloader. We came 12 hours, and I've driven to Idaho, put on 24 hours, and came home with tag soup. we're out here for the adventure, being with your buddies, hunting, packing out deer from the backcountry, and I was not going to do a tag soup, so deer down, buck down. You know, back home, a whitetail like this I would probably passed up, but it's different when you're cruising across country. It's all about the adventure, and yeah, hey, no tag soup, buck down, buck down. Yeah, all the rest of them are does from what it looks like, and I couldn't really tell what was out there. You know, there could have been a bigger buck bedded in those pines. I seen a lot of big bodies back in the shadows, but this one happened to be laying, sunning himself right out front, so it is what it is once you pull the trigger. All right, I had missed that mule deer last night, and I really wanted a mule deer, but from what we've seen, there ain't a ton of mule deer out here. So yeah, you better just take your chances you can get. It was a perfect shot. I couldn't turn it down. So if you drive 12 hours out of state to another area, do your standards climb or do they drop? I mean, back home, I haven't actually personally walked up to this deer yet, but back home I wouldn't have shot this deer. But there's been a few trips where I've went out of state and not use my tag, and you spend, you know, $300 or so or more, maybe a little less sometimes depending on the state, on a tag, and you just throw it out the window. So comment below, let me know, what do? Do you hold out for a monster, or do you take that first decent buck? I mean, it's been a little different, you know. We came down here with the high standards of thinking we were going to come into some decent mule deer action, and we've seen some good bucks, but a lot of it's on private. And we've seen some absolute monster whitetails, same thing, on private. And that public stuff just getting pounded, you know. And it was pushed really hard during rifle season, and we didn't see a lot of track. Well, on this private tract that we've been hunting, there's tracks and beds all over, but we haven't seen any real monster bucks. We've seen, you know, a couple of them up and comer 8-pointers, and I'm pretty sure that's what I just took. So comment below, let me know what you think. Try to keep the comments somewhat nice, you know. I normally try to hold out for a bigger buck, but eating that tag soup, I don't know, that sucks. You do that too many times in a row. Let me know what you guys think. Try to be somewhat nice to me. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. We're waiting for everybody else to get here at the moment, come up with a game plan, because I think we're right in the middle of this thing, and it's a little bit of a jaunt out of here, so we're gonna have to quarter this buck up and do a little pack out.
So Cody, how are you feeling about the hunt?
Well, somebody's got to kick off the killing season. It wasn't a mule deer, but it's a buck. Buck down, no tag soup.
Yeah, so we come walking up, and it's nothing I'd shoot at home, but I'm happy with it. And then we all glassed it, and we're like, what the hell? The whole time he was asking our opinions if he should shoot it or not. What do you think about it, Evan?
I don't know why he would ask you.
You got to drop your standards a little bit. It is muzzleloader season. We traveled a long ways. We ain't doing no tag soup. At least I ain't. I don't know about you guys.
I love tag soup.
We're way back in some private land. We haven't seen a ton of deer on the public. I think it's been hit pretty hard, but a lot of the hunters we've been running into haven't seen much, so when I seen him, I guess someone's got to kick off filling tags. Not a monster. We've seen some monsters yesterday, but they were all in private, so.
I think that's the bigger of the two whitetail bucks that were in here, though.
Yeah, we've seen two decent whitetails when we were cruising around. I mean, no monsters by any means, but I think this might have been the bigger of them. The other one, I don't think, I think it's wider, but not quite as, I don't know if I should say tall, but shorter than this one. But we're out here for the adventure, so packing it out, hang with your buddies. Now we get to begin that part, the pack out job. We're in the middle of, I don't know, we're a long ways from the road. right?
Probably about a mile.
A mile at least, so we're gonna quarter him up and pack him out. If you had an opportunity at that buck, what would you do? This is the guy we really gotta ask. He's the deer watcher.
Yeah, it's tough to say. Tough to say.
Would you rather eat that or tag?
That isn't what I came out here to shoot, but like you said, I guess I don't want to go home with a unfilled tag either. So.
No.
Knowing what I know now, after we got out here, the numbers and such,
Yeah.
probably would have shot it.
The nice thing is now I don't have to carry a rifle anymore. I just gonna be straight up cameraman like normal. You know, nobody wants to videotape my deer.
I videotaped you missing last night, so.
I did. I had my chance at a mule deer, and it must have been a little bit further than we thought. Shot hit a little bit low. It was quite a bit low.
Cody's the only one who shot, and he shot twice.
Yeah. I ain't scared to pull the trigger.
Cody gets everything.
Yeah.
I've shot twice and nobody else has shot at all.
Well, it's all about you, Cody.
Yeah.
It's all about you.
It's all about the kids.
Hey, you guys know what it is. It's mustache power.
Mustache power. See, this video was supposed to be mustaches and muleys. It's now mustaches and whitetails, I guess.
I'm shaving the second I get home.
I don't know why. Look at the crumbs that bugger catches right there. Jesus, that's half a piece of toast right there.
That's for later.
Like,
Do I got shit on it again?
yeah, I'm not kidding you. Every time you're on video, you have like food in your beard.
Yeah.
Bolting back now. He's still there, but what the fuck? What the fuck?
I don't think I'm wet. They're not popping.
Huh. He's walking ass to us right now. Gun's not working.
Primers.
What? His primer's not working.
Either my
So
how
far
is it? 300? 300.
There he is, just sitting there skylining.
Fuck.
I'm pissed off right now. Took 4 primers, not my gun wouldn't go off. I'm pretty upset. That sucks. 250 yards broadside, standing there, and my gun doesn't go off.
Well, we figured out what the issue was after Mickle shot, what, 4 or 5 primers?
4 primers. Little moist.
Yeah, that looks like a chunk of mud, and that's supposed to be powder. So, yeah, there was no way any primer was going to light that powder. So, that muley got away, and I guess we're going to have to start changing our powder every night.
Which we should probably do anyway.
Yeah, we're just going to have to make it a rule now, change your powder every night when we get back. I don't know if that would have something to do with like the coming in from the cold to the hot, if your barrels, you know,
And it could be.
get moisture on them, or if it was just getting snow inside the barrel. And
I'm guessing we had a lot of snow on our barrels when we were
Oh,
going
not
through
me.
but I think if you had a cold barrel bringing you into a warm truck or a warm house, that would do it too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, we're just going to have to start changing our powder every night. Evan had the same issue, so if Dad and Evan would have tried to come and get a shot, they probably wouldn't have got a shot either. Gave it 10 minutes or so.
Nice job, Chad.
Good boy, Chad.
Woo! Dad's been on what, 3 mule deer hunts?
This is the 3rd one, yeah.
He's had some encounters with some brutes, but we're getting towards the end of our hunt. This guy came across onto the property that we could hunt on, some private property, and Dad put the smack down and made a good shot. It didn't really go anywhere. Ran about 10-15 yards and laid down.
Woo! Buck down.
He's not a monster, but he's dead.
We got another tag filled. 2 out of 4 tags filled. We got tomorrow and possibly Saturday morning we might go for a quick jaunt around and see what's out, but at least we got half the tags filled. You know what the best part of it, about all of it, is we actually came here. Got what we came here for, a freaking mule deer.
I did.
I'm really happy we didn't have to drag him out of that.
Yeah.
2 tags down, 2 to go, boys. Tomorrow we gotta put a hurting on him.
We need to get a kill shot on camera.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, sounds good.
I better get snapped.
Second to last evening, tags filled, Dad. How do you feel about it?
Feel good. I wish he was bigger, but it's a buck.
Yeah.
May not be a monster, but do you really want to go home with tag soup? Not really. We've done that a few times already. So when we seen that, I could tell it was at decent height. And I could tell it had a fork on it. That's about all I could tell. But I don't know, Mickle, Evan, would you have passed on that one?
Nope. Not for the amount of deer we've been seeing.
We haven't seen much for mule deer. What we have seen has been on private property, and we've seen probably a bruiser or two on the way down, and we've been after that like a 4x3, 4x4 on our private property. But that thing's been trained a little bit. He's pretty smart. We're gonna get this deer quartered up, have a few of victory beers. Probably end up cutting this mule deer up tonight and skinning it out to do a European mount. We got to have the brain and everything all cleaned out before we take it across the border. So we got a little bit of work to do tonight. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Hopefully we get 2 more deer.
I was hoping for a little more bone than that, but it'll
I'll
work.
give you some more bone.
They always look bigger.
What was that?
I said I'd give him some more bone.